that's history as to what burnt out meant initially and then what it means now. So this is what will be guiding our session today. And by way of introduction, so I'll start with this statistics. So Asana, I'm sure a good number of us are familiar with Asana. And they conducted a research among 10,000 workers. So I think whatever results it is that they're giving is actually valid. And approximately 70% of people experienced burnout in the last year. And then when you consider generations, so 84% of Gen Zs report burnouts, along with 74% of millennials and then 47% of baby boomers. But so I'm sure we all fall within the Gen Zs and then the millennials, considering that we're young professionals. And then another survey by Monster found that 69% of employees are experiencing burnout symptoms while working from home. So I specifically called out this data because, with the advent of the pandemic, so we see that a lot of people are either working hybrid or working fully remotely or still going to the office. So it's just important that we're able to, identify how it affects those that work remotely and even those that, work into the physical space. So by way of, statistics. So we'll see this interesting data by Deloitte, and hopefully you'll get to see a consultant from there as well, and just a feedback on how to, refuel and manage burnout. So we see here that 87%, I think that is a very large number, like it's more than three quarter of 100%. So 87% of professionals say that they have passion for their current job, yet 64% say they frequently feel stressed or frustrated at their current job. So now we have 18% saying that for the daily stress, 32% few times a week, and then 15% once in a week. So 77% of professionals have experienced burnout at their current job. And if we also reference the statistics that we've even taken amongst ourselves here, so maybe a number of people don't know what burnout is, and that's why they're probably not saying, oh, I'm actually burnt out. But I'm sure that at the end of this session, you'll be able to assess yourself and just become aware of whatever symptom it is that you're experiencing. So let me not jump ahead of myself, but really, it's not every malaria that is, it's not every sign or symptom that we experience that is actually malaria. So sometimes we're actually burnt out and then we're tagging it as, malaria and popping antibiotics and all of that. So we'll come to that. But so for the remote workers here, we see that 86% of workers that, or people that work remotely are burnt out. This is a large number, 81% and 70%. So what exactly is this, burnout? What does it mean for a worker? What does it mean for one to be burnout? So this is the WHO definition, and it says that burnout is a syndrome conceptualized as a result of working resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. So I want us to pay attention to these three dimensions, because it's only when you are aware, that's when you'll be able to really assess whatever it is that you are going through. So do you have, energy depletion, or you're just chronically exhausted? Then are you experiencing increased mental distance from your job, feeling negative and just cynical, even in relation to your job? Then have you noticed that there's been reduced professional efficacy? Because the truth is, by the time you're burnt out, your productivity level is actually depleted. And so even the hard work you're trying to put in, actually, it has a negative effect because you're not as efficient as you ought to be. And then Cambridge, so we had to pick a simpler definition. Let's just use the dictionary definition as well. And it says, it's the state of having no energy or enthusiasm because of working too hard, or someone who shows the effects of this state. So hard work is good. And as we're going through this, it's important that we just strike a balance through everything that we're discussing here. But hard work is good, and it's like I said, it's right to strike the balance. So now I've done this comparison because we said chronic stress And the truth is, we may say that, oh, I'm just stressed. So how then do you like define or draw the line between being stressed or actually being burnt out rather? And a major difference before we look at these characteristics, when you're burnt out, like there's nothing good about being burnt out. At least when people are even in stress levels, because we say you're stressed, like stress also has, the positive effect or the positive side to it. So say, for example, you're driving and you notice maybe an obstacle in front of you and you press on your brake. That is like a stress response. Or you have a deadline that is fast approaching. Like, how we tend to work at deadlines and you're putting in all of the work. So that's also a stress level. But the truth is not good to be in a chronic level of stress. Like, to be chronically stressed actually has a negative effect eventually, even across different levels. So yeah, we have the differences. We can see over engagement with stress. When the person is burnt out, like they're not even engaging. And for stress, it may lead to anxiety, but a burnt out person is more depressed than actually anxious to do anything. And there's that sense of urgency or hyperactivity. For someone that is burnt out, like there's even a posture. It's just like their heads are drooling. Maybe head is always on the laptop, but just down, just tired. And there's really no interest, to do the work that is required. Now we've divided this into different factors. I know that can we still hear me? Because I think I'm saying something about my network. Am I still being heard clearly?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so for the causes of burnout, so we have personal factors, social factors, and then work-related factors. Now, we're all young professionals, and I don't know how it was for every one of us, like, when you resume a new role or you just like you're getting into a new position or into a new workspace, there's that desire, like maybe for few exceptions, or maybe for the few people that would not fit into that category, but there's that desire to want to impress, like you want to do the extra mile, you want to go the extra mile, you want to see that, oh, okay, these people actually acknowledge me for my work. And we find that young people are actually falling prey of being burnt out because we're all in that phase. Like, it's more like it's your early years and you want to prove a point. I mean, I'm great at this job. Like I can do so good at it. So there's that desire to impress. And in the bid to impress, you find that you're doing way, not even just the extra mile, but you're doing way above yourself. Like you're working excessively hard and not even having breaks. So that then now leads to burnout. And then the need for validation. So this also speaks to your self-worth, or even how you see yourself. Like beyond, of course, we know that it's always nice to get applauded or get the commendations of those that are superiors. But when that's like the major driving force for your work, and then when it feels like you're not getting validation, then you start to feel, oh, my work is not being recognized and all of that. It can also like push one into going over and beyond and then just tipping into the burnout phase. Then never taking a vacation, like never taking a break. This is pro burnout phase. Like even if it's not the well, it's actually advised that you go on your full break, but just taking a vacation, like, or if we have different vacations now, whether it's vacation, there are different vacations that you can actually engage in and just enjoy, like even during the process of working. Then the social factors, societal pressures as a result of the like I said, the phase that we're in. So sometimes there's that pressure to for lack of a better word, or just to put it in a way that would all relate, that pressure to arrive, or that pressure to be successful, to be out there. You find that you're putting in so many work hours, or there's the pressure to say, oh, how come you've not gotten to this phase? How come you've not gotten to this level? And you're trying to manage all of that. Then with the location, Lagosians, hello. I think almost, don't share this table. Let's share it now. I think the location, like every Lagosian is actually a pro burnout candidate when you look at all the factors like that surrounds living in Lagos. So it happens that where you are actually, like your geographical base can also be a cause of burnout. I know we're focusing on work related and we're still going to come to that, but this sometimes is not even about your work, but also the other things that are affecting you will now play out even in the burnout that you experience at work. Because I mean, imagine you're not okay personally, or even like the social factors are not in place. Like it just happens that it would manifest in your work. We spend most of our lives in our a good number of our life hours at the jobs it is that we do. So it's just important. Then lack of support. So the support can be from maybe family, friends. When you don't have that support, is also an easy cause for burnouts. Then family demands for people that are having to bear the burdens of their families. Like it could be a burnout thing. So I know we generally call it black tax. Like you're bearing the whole burden of the family. You're young. You're trying to settle down. Trying to settle in your job, building your own family, or raising your own family, or maybe even want to relocate. Like all of these things can just like make you pass out. So now work related. Now in the workplace, like when the expectations are not clear, so that thing of actually having a clear understanding of what is expected of you is required. Because I mean, I know we'll still talk about this when we come to managing burnout, but the truth is, if you don't know, if you're not clear on what is expected of you, like in the workplace, the tendency is that you're carrying on too many tasks that are not even, they don't really add value to your work. Well, yes, you're going on with activities, but they're not the bulk of what you should be doing. So it's important that, I mean, you're clear on the expectations. See, I'm already talking on how to manage it. But yeah, that's like a cause of work-related burnout. And then lack of workplace communication. You don't know what to do, or maybe you're even facing issues, you're facing challenges. And then like I'm just going through our comments as well. Like Lagos is not the home, it's not for the weak. DYP admin, thank you. We received the hugs with joy and gladness for Lagosians. Yeah. But yeah, so just like as I was saying, and then pressing deadlines, like you have deadlines at work. And some of us, because we feel like we want to be superheroes, and anything that just comes, like, can you deliver this today? Yes. I need this work done today. Yes. I want to get this project submitted by tomorrow. Yes. Even when you know like that there's a huge pile of work that is still on your table and to be sorted, but you're saying yes to all of that. Now, so office politics, well, depending on where you work, so there may be politics in your workspace, and what happens is it may lead to like an unpleasant work environment, or just a toxic work culture that may be present maybe amongst colleagues and even with superiors. Then working too many hours cannot be overflowed. There's always a time when you have to put in extra hours. Don't get me wrong, but when that is consistently repeated or going on for too long, just know that this is what I'm just showing you is that this is pro burnout. Then when work, like just already said, with office politics and then workplace dynamics, so when they're dysfunctional, like they can actually affect the kind of work it is that, or the burnouts that you experience. So now with symptoms, so as we're going through this, I want us to begin to assess. Yes, thank you, DYP. It says overpromising that leads to pressure. Overpromising. So now with symptoms, okay, let me shut this down. Right? I want us to, pay attention to all of this, and then now really see if you were tired, if you were stressed, or if you were just like, if it's that whether where or you're just burnt out. And if that's time that you took antibiotic, that time that you went to buy amoxicillin and then you went to get anti-malaria too with it, maybe you're just burnt out, maybe, and then you're thinking that, it's malaria. You did not consult the doctor, like you didn't go to this checker, and then you just, decided to take an anti-malaria. So just maybe. So now with the physical sign and symptoms of burnout, you're feeling mostly tired and drained. Then frequent illnesses. So, well, yeah, there could be illnesses just because, you're having lowered immunity. So I'd explain that when I'm talking about the effects on health. Then frequent headaches. So this one, in fact, let me just address it for us here. So not every headache, right? Not every headache is malaria. And from work and from what we've seen, not every headache is also typhoid. So immediate responses for most of us is that we feel the headaches. It doesn't go frequently, and then we say, "Oh, I'm having malaria. Let me just walk into the pharmacy and then get anti-malaria." It doesn't go. But now treating something else, now get type of medication, it still doesn't go. Then maybe eventually now go to meet with the doctor. But perhaps maybe like it's just a sign that you are actually burnt out. So it's good to identify that. Like, I mean, personally, I know that when I was burnt out, like my head was just aching. Like, when you're not, when it's not a symptom that you have frequently, because I mean I've experienced this as well, so I think I can also like speak to it. But your head is just aching, like you're just tired. You don't know what's making you tired, but you're just really tired. And then there's reduced appetite. So it can be either ways. It can either be that you have reduced appetite, or you even have like really increased appetite. Okay. Now the emotional bit, so sense of failure, is when you are burnt out and you just start to think about your life. Like you start to think about all of the life history, like maybe what you've not achieved, like maybe what are you even doing with your life? Then that's when comparison starts to kick in. Like you're probably now looking, maybe the grass is greener on this side. Like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Like, why am I still working in this place? Do you understand? And then there's that detachment, loss of motivation, short temper. Maybe you're probably very pleasant before, all of a sudden you're just having like quick snaps at your colleagues or even your family members. And how this plays out is that it actually affects, our relationships, whether work relationships or personal relationships. We just find that, we're not giving our best to the people that we actually love just because, we're burnt out. And then the behavioral bit, isolating from others, procrastinating. So you're overindulging in whether it is food, whether it is drugs for some people, alcohol, movies, like just want to binge on movies, and even social media. Then this one. So in our poll, I see that over 80% of us chose the constant urge to resign as, a symptom of burnout. Excuse me, which is actually, is actually true. So when you're tired, when you're exhausted at work, when you are burnt out, like you're just thinking of, please, what's the next, available way out? Like, sorry, I'm reading someone's comment and she says, I had that headache yesterday. That means it was a burnout sign. Well, it's very possible. Yeah, so like the urge to resign. So people are just like, I want to quit. I'm done. Like, I don't care. And in that place, like it may even be as serious as there's really no next move, there's no next step, there's no next phase. They're just like, I just want to call it, like I'm not doing it again. Yeah. So that's a symptom. Okay. Now to our next one. I think this is where we say, okay, on health. So for managing stress, yeah, like when you're talking about stress, you need to sorry, okay. So you need to actually talk about like the hormone called cortisol, like you may have heard it. Yeah. And then what happens is when cortisol is released. So cortisol is like the stress hormone. And I also talked about how you can be in like a state of chronic stress, and that's like a cause of burnout. So what happens is when you are having excess secretion of cortisol, like it affects different things in your body. So it can then now start to lead to all of this that we listed here, like the increased risk of diseases like diabetes. They're now having heart conditions, and some people wonder why they gain weight when they're actually stressed. So it's still like can be linked to the hormone cortisol. So instead of like your sugar level in your body, like instead of it to be broke down appropriately, the cortisol is actually inhibiting that insulin, and then you just find that I'm exercising, I'm doing everything, but the weight is not losing, like nothing is being achieved. So you find that you can actually have weight gain, you can have weight loss, either of the scenarios can be as a result of being burnt out, and it's just because there's that chronic stress level. And the thing about us is that we're whole beings, like, so everything affects, one thing affects every other part of our beings. Yeah, so high blood pressure, the heart diseases, and I'm particularly listing this here because I know then what we'll think about is, it's just the older folks that used to have hypertension. what's hypertension with a 20-something-year-old? As in, what are we looking for? Or somebody in the early 30s like that, already having high blood pressures, or we hear of people that maybe probably slumped at work, and then we're wondering, but this is actually like a burnout effect on our health as well. So we're seeing that younger people are having these chronic illnesses. So it's just because of of the stress that we're going through, the burnout that is accumulating over and over again. So that can is a major contribution to health diseases. And then sleep disorders, is not it's not ideal for a young person. This is the early phase. So imagine having to pop pills already just because you want to get a good night's sleep, and you still have another 50, 60 years ahead of you. And I mean, this is just maybe 20, 30 something, and we're already trying to get pills to manage sleep. And it's just the effect of the burnout that we'll be experiencing, musculoskeletal disorders. So when you're having muscle pains, you're having maybe joint aches, your muscles are just generally tired. Yeah. Okay. So Sarah says that she was complaining yesterday that she's worked consistently, but yet she gained weight. And then Millicent is saying, how do you gain weight when you're, my dear? Yeah, that's actually how the human physiology is. So it has to, when you're doing the whole weight gain practice, and then working towards that goal, is a whole thing. So you know that you're getting adequate rest, trying to sleep well, you're eating well, you're like I said, you're resting well, and then doing the exercise as well. So it's not isolated. It's not that you do only the exercise and then your sleep is anyhow. It has to be balanced, everything all together. Yeah. And then the psychological aspect, when you're born, you don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to be by myself. And I think this is where we also need to, when I was starting, I was saying that I'm thankful for the DYP community. And I trust that we've seen it as a safe haven where we can also reach out and ask for help whenever that need arises. So, the old, Sarah, I see you. So the old depression, you notice, and even with just having that, is it head care now that I'd call it? You notice a colleague that is, being down, and is more difficult for people that work from home, because I mean, we're just literally behind the screens. We come on our laptops, we smile here, there, and that's all. Nobody really knows if this person is already tipping into depression and all of that. But that's where we can then begin to see ways of addressing this, which we'll discuss further down. I hope I'm still keeping to time. Okay. Yeah, so lack of focus, and then reduced productivity. So just before I go on, I don't know, maybe 1, 2 people can just type in the chat and then say how, for adventure, you've managed, a burnout before. How did you manage it? So I want to see 2 responses in the chat before I go on. Okay, thank you. Thank you, DYP. So just before I go on, so how have you managed, or how do you manage stress? When you're tired, when you're exhausted at work? Let's see responses. So is it that do you just, shut out? It says stress is giving. You just shut down? Do you, go to a party, a friend's house? What is it that we do? I'd really like to know, because I mean, go on a vacation. Take lots of coffee. I did die. I hope the coffee will not be coughing and then help you, it will reduce your sleep mode. Zone out. I love it. Shion says she zones out. Treasure says I totally shut out everything called excellent. Work and sleep. I love it. Then who else? Rich Kene. Interesting, beautiful. Cook a big meal, then go to bed. Oh, I actually love Rachel's response as well. She says I had to go on a 2-week break from work. And we'll talk about this, because sometimes we think when we're requesting for breaks that we've actually failed, or we're not powerful. So that's not correct. You're not a weakling. It doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you a lazy person if you actually have to take that break. Yeah. Okay. Watch football. Rest, sleep, watch a movie. Nice. I intentionally take time to rest. Oh wow. Sarah, I totally understand. Watch movies. Okay, so let's see what we have here, right? So to manage burnouts, now the first thing, right, before we start to even think of all of the activities, the do's, the creative things that we can, get engaged in, let's actually ask ourselves, because if you don't know the root cause of something, like by the time you even address the surface, like you address the symptom, you're still going to end up falling into that phase or into that level again. So it's important to build that self-awareness, and then just important to identify what exactly was it that brought you to this place. I mean, we've already seen what burnout is. Like, you're not being productive, you're exhausted, you're helpless, like you don't even want to, do any mental work. So those are like things contributing to it. So now you just have to like really, sit down. If it was just like maybe a 30 minutes or 1 hour time that you have to yourself, just be by yourself and then get honest, like ask honest questions. So what is this that is actually making me, like making me burn out? Like, is it that I'm working so hard to get, some form of validation? Am I doubting the worth or the value that I bring to the table? Do I think I'm having esteem issues? Because I mean, it's important, because if you don't actually know what exactly it is that you're tackling. So let me see if I can, go to the previous slide on what can cause. Yes, so that desire to impress. So is this what is causing your burnout? Or is it that, you're taking on so many tasks at the same time? Like, I remember speaking to, in fact, that was just yesterday, because I want us to see or hear from the experiences of few young professionals as well, and then just see how, they've been able to manage, their burnout phases. And one thing that, one of them mentioned was she was working on, imagine one human being working on 14 projects at the same time. And you can imagine the hours of work that would go into that, and just trying to focus and ensure that maximum productivity still comes out of it. Because I mean, we expect that we're producing excellent work. So just ask yourself, like, what exactly has brought me to this place? What is it that has, caused the burnout? And then it's only as you know what has brought it, and then that's when you're able to, I mean, address the issue or the cause of the burnout. Then we now go to, prioritizing self-care. I know a lot of us have heard this word like being flung around, like self-care is important, love yourself, this one, that one. We say it, even me, I say it, but we're all still like really learning. Because I mean, like after preparing this, I have to just also ask myself questions, and then just look for ways to, improve on avoiding burnout, even for myself too. So you need to sleep, like like I said, I know there are times that, there's that intense work that needs to go in, but it shouldn't be a consistent thing. Like, it's not something that should be over a long period of time. So it's important that you like get some good night's sleep. So I would not tell you that get, as much as I want to say that medically, that you should get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I know that it is also not entirely realistic for a good number of us, but here's what I'll say. So I know that we all have different mechanisms. So if I take a quick survey and I ask, okay, I say, if I ask Kenny or if I ask Rachel, so how many hours of sleep do you actually need for you to be, to be okay to produce at your optimal level? We see that we all have different hours of sleep. So for some of us, we get 5 hours, and we're great, like we're good to go. For some of us, it's 4 hours. For some of us, it's 6 hours, and for some people, maybe 8 hours. But yes, so as much as possible, just understand yourself, understand your body. Rachel says 7 to 8 hours, great. So understand yourself, understand your body, and then try to see that you are matching what it is that your body requires. Because the counterintuitive thing is to do is that, okay, you're depriving yourself of sleep, and then at the end of the day, your own productivity is now increased, and you're now getting into the burnout, you're gaining weight, like we talked about cortisol, and you're going to the gym, but you're still putting on the weight. So I mean, all of that are contributory factors. And during the day, something that you can also do. So just in seeing that your daytime is also utilized. So you can like take short naps, actually, whether it's 15, 30 minutes. So that's something that I personally started to incorporate, like just shut down my phone and then take naps for a few minutes, like 15 to 30 minutes. And by the time I wake up, okay, I know that, yes, I've gotten more energy again to go for, the remaining hours of work that I have. So that's also something that, we want to, power naps, exactly. Those are like power naps, and it's actually refreshing. Don't sleep for 1 hour, 30 minutes, so please, that's not what I said. Because by the time you're doing that, like, so there are cycles to sleep, like even if you want to go into the old physiology of the old physiology of sleep, like there's cycles, don't talk about the REM phase, all of that. That's like medical stuff now. But power naps, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, even that 1 hour is what you can maybe like, you're back to back and you've had a long trip or something, or you have to maybe gather the energy from that 1 hour. Okay, you can go ahead. But if the sleep is not getting too deep, for you to come out of that deep phase of sleep, you'll be tired when you wake up. So that's why I was saying it's just short power naps. Yeah, so that it doesn't have the opposite effect that it's supposed to have on you. Then engage life hacks and delegate. So I want to believe that a good number of us here are not trying to be superheroes. Like, even though we're excellent people, like we're go-getters and we're great at whatever it is that we do, but identify what you can outsource or delegate like within your own means. So is it going to the markets? Like, the different avenues now for people. Like, I even have a sister, like she doesn't, because I know the amount of work that she has to do, and instead of like, what's the time for her to go to the market and then prepare a meal? So there's someone that just handles the meal prep, cooks in bulk, and then she's able to store that. So whether it's the things like that you can easily outsource, or even tasks that you can delegate, whether it is with your own personal self, or if you are say a mid-level or an executive at your workplace, things that you can actually delegate. Like, you don't have to take up everything, really. You really don't have to take up everything, and we'll still talk about that. And yeah, so even another life hack, like for Lagosians here now. So you say that you're driving to work every day. Instead of driving every day, do you want to like practice carpooling? Is that something that is feasible? Is it doable, or is it possible? Like, so that you're not driving, you're not hitting the road every day. Why not? Maybe there's people that are going along your route, and then you all go to work together. Then open up to someone in your community. Now, this one is important because when we did the poll, we all ticked that urge to resign as a symptom of burnout, and it just shows that a lot of people have either thought, are thinking, are in the process, or are about to resign. So that's what having someone to speak to does. And like I said, DYP is here, but I also believe that we have mentors. So even if it's not mentors, maybe like depending on the workspace that you have, maybe your superiors, if you have a trusted senior colleague. So it could be either way, whether vertical or horizontal relationships, and you speak to the person. So when you're about to make such decisions, whether decisions like, oh, I want to quit this job, like I don't know what next I'm going to do, but I'm tired, like I'm done here, and I don't want to have to go through this. So sometimes the advice or the counsel that they bring in actually helps you to reassess, and then maybe just draw back. So what may be advised is instead of saying you want to resign, or you want to shut down, or just quit and be there hanging, why not take a break? Like, I think that was Rachel. Yeah, she mentioned going on a 2 weeks break. So why not take a break? Why not withdraw for a while, spend some time by yourself, just try to recuperate, and then see if you still want to make that decision of quitting or resigning that job. So that's what having senior colleagues or people that you can talk to, that's what it does for you as well. And then with your vertical relationships, so with your peers or people that your work colleagues. So when you're doing this, when you're talking about your burnout, like I'm not saying you open up about your burnout in the face, like all of you now, like I was discussing this with someone that you all will now gather and then start to think, we're even tired, like you're all discouraging yourself. Instead of one person being, so I said, yeah, find your firelighters. Instead of one person like actually helping you, or maybe like suggesting ways of how you should manage it, all of you are now brooding together and saying how you're all depressed. Like, please, that's not the circle. Like at that point in time, that's not what you need when you're managing a burnout. Like, you actually need your firelighters, people that would actually help you get your energy back, people that would redirect you and say, oh, this is not this is not your best you. Like, even if it's let's go out, let's go and chill somewhere, or let's do this activity, let's have a sleepover. It could be that simple. So that's what you need. And then reassess your career goals and your priorities. So could it be that Yes, so I see that comparing your level of depression, like somebody will say, your own is even better. Do you know what I'm going through? Please don't engage in that, because at the end of the day, like all of you together will be depressed, and then maybe you'll not even take the joint effort to say that, in fact, let's even quit that, we're not doing it again. So I mean, it's just important to have people that just redirect us appropriately. So reassessing your career goals and your priorities, like what are the things that you've set out for yourself? Because the truth is, even though it may not be the case for everyone, there are times that, being burnt out may actually be that wake up call that you need for you to like redirect, or say that, okay, you need to, whether it's redirection or strategizing anew, or saying that, okay, you want to um go on a new direction. Yeah, redirecting, like it just helps you reassess, like you are now identifying your whys. So that's where, like, for people that journal, so you've probably written things down before. Maybe you had like work goals at the beginning of the year, you had development goals, you had career progression goals, and you're not meeting it. So that burnout phase can actually be like, it's just like a wake-up call that, what am I really doing? Like how is work helping me? How can I realign my work phase, or what it is that I'm doing to actually achieve this goal that I've set for myself? So that's what that maybe that's the benefit that can also come. Benefits being that, when you are assessing yourself, not as the burnout is the benefit here. And then seek professional help. We already discussed how you can have, your immune levels will be depleted, like just because you're constantly stressed. So you're coming down with flu, you're coming down with the malaria, it can happen. You're coming down with frequent headaches, you're having joint pains, but everything. So at that point is when you should actually, seek professional help, like speak to a doctor. So please let me talk about Checker. Like Checker gladly provides free doctor's consultation. And I mean, like even for DYP community tonight, like you can just, let's see if I can drop a link for, or have DYP share that, and then you'll be able to like book the free, medical consultation, like literally free. Like you get to speak to your doctor, and then you talk about the health issues that you're facing, and then whatever it is. Because if you keep neglecting your health, like something is bothering you, and you're just like, I'm going to sort this thing later. Eventually, like that could even be something that will just dampen your productivity at the end of the day. So the work that you're trying to, save, that let me just keep going hard at this work, is actually what can still, affects you later. So please pay attention to your health. Then therapists, like if you need to speak to a mental health professional, you need to speak to a psychologist, you need to speak to a counselor. I mean, all of these avenues are being made available now, and it's just great that we are nest and then make the most of this. So I'd rush through this, avoiding burnout. So for those of us that work maybe in the office or work remotely, so you just take your available vacation time, have open lines of communication, like we speaking life hacks, like we said, identify your reform mechanisms, like before you even burn out. So what is it that energizes you? What is it that makes you happy? What is it that actually is that outlet for you? Like when you're done from work, you can actually just refer from it. Then for remote workers, set boundaries, like when is your shutdown time? When is that time that people cannot disturb you? And even managing the expectation, because sometimes the thing about people that work from home, everybody thinks they're available to like take on a lot of work, and then they're just being called on to attend to so many things. So just managing expectations, and like we said, saying no intelligently. So whether it is that you have a superior that is placing expectations or demands, like that's when emotional intelligence comes to play. So you need to be able to clearly communicate that, okay, my table is piled up. It's not to just say, no, I cannot do this, please don't do that. So, but I mean, just clearly communicating the need for you to complete what it is that you have undone, and then addressing the other one. So these are like fellow young professionals. So I just like asked a few people, they're real people. So that's why I put their faces there as well. And so Kofo is a barista, and what she said, like in managing stress or even avoiding burnout, is that she sleeps, she eats comfort food, and then just tries to enjoy little things. Then IK is a entrepreneur in residence for a startup in UAE. So for him, he sets clear expectations, creates his own fun times, and then also like engages in exercises. Then we have Ada. So I particularly included the Deloitte people because I mean, if you encounter people that work in the Big Fours, like, you know, the huge level of work that, I mean, that goes into working in organizations like that. So it's just always important. So she's a senior consultant there. And for her, what she did was to like plan a trip after an intense period of work, and, you know, looking forward to a trip that you're going to have is just also a way to cope with whatever stress it is that you have. Okay, so this will be our assignment, but I think we should take questions now that we have. Yeah, so we'll come to that just before we go. Assignments for, you know, our pro avoiding burnout, or yes, let me go to that way. All right, thank you. So just take questions now.
Thank you so much, Jesupi. This was a comprehensive slide. As in, I really enjoyed myself and it wasn't boring. Okay, because of time, I have a question. Somebody asked me this question recently, and I'll just read it out from my phone. And what do I do when my organization doesn't recognize the fact that I could be experiencing a burnout and refuse to give me a break? Then secondly, for remote workers, because take for instance, I work remotely largely, and you mentioned, I think you mentioned something about creating, I can't remember how you put it in the slide when you put something for remote workers, right? But like, how do you stop working? You know, like how do you get that definite time? Like, see, right now I'm going off, don't come, don't enter my game, don't enter my email. You know, like, how do you stop working? Because there's no set time to stop.
Okay, so let me go with the first question. And, you know, I didn't talk too much on the organizational level because, I mean, I know that a good number of us here are coming as, you know, we being like on the receiving end, but the truth is, it's something that also needs to be promoted. So like for me now, even after having prepared this, like I now started to even ask myself, like, how can I ensure that my teammates as well are not, you know, going through chronic levels of burnout? So the truth is there actually has to be that, should I say, reorientation. And for that particular person, like we said, or like we already spoke about here, there's that need to still communicate. It's like, it's not an aggressive thing, but just explain. And I'm hoping you have someone that you even at least trust in the management level, or someone that you can sort of open up to. So maybe that's even an encouragement for every one of us, like to have someone like that in our workspaces. So whether it is that one person that you can just walk up to and then talk about the challenges that you're facing at work, so that, I mean, when that time comes, they either speak for you or guide you through whatever it is that, you know, you're going through. So, but for that person, like, you still have to communicate, because at the end of the day, like, if you burn out, like, you're not going to be able to produce the work it is that they require of you. So just speaking to them, maybe understand how they're viewing the whole situation. So they may be looking at it that this person just wants a break. To be honest, well, there are toxic places like that, if we're actually being frank. That's why I also talk about the need to like address leaders of organizations as well, and just ensure that, you know, we're on the lookout for these things. But yeah, like communicate it to your whether it's your team lead, and just have that conversation, and then let it be that you're able to, like, even if it's not the full extent of the leave it is that you require, or the break, at least you're able to get something out of it. And I'm sure that, well, I do hope that like you'll be able to like get some considerable listening here. Yeah. Then the other question about creative boundaries. So I'm laughing because like I've asked myself this question too, and you know, I've been there, like I'm just working from morning to night. Like, you know, when it's you, yourself, and your laptop, like you're just down there, whether you're going to eat or going to the table, and then the laptop is going with you. So, and like I said again, there are times that you'd actually require that, like there are short periods that, you know, you have to do all of that. But see, if you're doing that repeatedly for for 100 days, there's no how, like, you will break. In fact, I'm just saying 100 days, like it's not 100 days is not any scientific. Please don't quote that, like it's not a scientific thing. But I'm just saying, if you keep doing that like for repeated periods, So just like I said, what are your top deliverables? What are the things that are actually required from you at work here? What is the 20% that you know that you will put in that will cover for the remaining 80% that you've not? I'm not saying you should leave work undone, but that you can maybe move over to the next day. So with each day that comes, so you're asking, okay, what are my most, my top priority tasks or things that I should focus on? Because so initially the tendency is that, oh, I want to finish all of my work today. And there's something my cousin used to say, allow me to say it, you say work, no, they finish, right? Like there's always something to be done. So it's to ask yourself, okay, even if it's that it requires you to maybe even ask for help from one of your colleagues, and just like I said, like if you can delegate, do delegate, but just set that time, like you will get better at it. It's not immediately, like trust me, it's not immediately that you say, oh, you're able to shut down at this. It's something that you have to like, work progressively on, like that you say that, okay, at this particular time, I'm going to, put my laptop down, engage in some other form of activity, and then just even try to be present with people that, love me. So that's it. Like you have to do it. Like you have to be deliberate, because if you're open, sitting in front of laptop for the most of your day, it's not even healthy to your eyes. Like I don't want to go there, but it's not healthy for your eyes. But I know a good number of us even work with screens, so you may even like want to consider like getting like the blue cut lens, just just to protect your eyes as well. But yeah, I think I saw a question in the
Yes, there's a question in the chat box. I'll read it out, but before I read it out, please, I also like to announce that the feedback form has been posted on the chat box. So we can sign up, we can start dropping our feedback, while the Q&A is going on. Admin will also repost so that it's easy for you to just go to the link. Okay, so Mia is asking, how do you deal with an employer that is constantly laying off?
Sorry, you're breaking, Kenny, or is that from me?
Yeah, I think somebody muted me by mistake. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so Mia is asking, how do you deal with an employer that is constantly laying off staff and you have to carry the role of 3 different positions? Wow.
3 different positions. Please, why is the person even laying off staff in the first place? Like, I'm curious, because there's no like, please, there's always the need to speak up and then just communicate what it is that you're going through. Because sometimes what happens is, like, you don't assume that, oh, you're okay, and then you can, bear on all of that work. But it's not doable. Like, it's not even healthy for. Mira says she micromanages and has a way she wants things done. But I mean, that's not effective for you. So it's something that actually has to be brought up, that, oh, I'm wondering how one person, handling 3 roles would actually not burn out. Like that's almost inevitable. So also, and with this kind of message now, I'm guessing like that, there's probably no maybe HR that you can speak to, considering the kind of scenario it is. Well, please, like it has to be addressed or talked about. That I mean, I won't be able to like manage, this 3 roles. Like what's the plan? What's the step for actually getting someone else on board? Because eventually, so if that does not happen, like that's when even people like actually leave the organization, and then I won't be surprised if Mary actually says that she's already even looking for another role. Yes, so yeah, but please like talk about it, even to whether your boss or if there's a direct line that you are under. Yeah. Is there another question?
Yes, there's a funny question here. Peter says burnout disappears for a few days after salary.
I don't know how to help you. I really don't know how to help, because I'm burnout like disappears after salary comes in, like just out of the euphoria of getting your pay, and then you can enjoy for this. So I maybe you should budget or talk to DYP like to help on maintaining your joy level, so that when you engage like proper budgeting and it's the middle of the month, like you're still happy to work, since salary is like the good motivation. Because I mean, actually, yeah, so that's also like a good motivation to work. Really, like, is this really burnout? Wow.
I'm sure
Okay.
the YP admin is taking note of this one.
Right.
Peter,
Right.
please reach out to the YP admin. I'm putting the YP admin on the spot. And
Yes.
then I have one final question on my chat. So some questions were sent to WhatsApp.
Okay.
I have a multiple deadline to meet and can't take a break in between delivering on those tasks. How can I ensure I remain mentally stable while trying to deliver on those tasks?
So there's really no how. I spoke about how there are times that you have intense work hours, and then just have something that you're looking forward to. So one of the professionals that I shared with us, like, talked about how there were multiple projects that was being worked on, and then what was the should I say the thing that she was holding on to at that time was like, okay, this is going to be over, I'm going on a break. So, but even in the middle of that, like, there's really no how you can should I say cheat nature. And if you do it like multiple times, the times that you go maybe for like 2 days, 3 days, by the time the sleep will come, or maybe that breakdown will come, like, it's going to be heavy on you. So there are multiple deadlines. If it's possible for you to get help from maybe a colleague, or even get help from, say, if you have a sister, a younger one, or just someone around that you can ask for help from, just so that the work is shared or the burden is reduced from you. Your work may not be able to, like, no one would really be able to do your work for you, but you still need to ensure that you're getting some form of break, like in the middle of it. Because I mean, just like you said, if it's the power naps that would help you, please just ensure that you're engaging in this. Because at the end of the day, like, if you want to produce good work, and then you're saying that, okay, you want to, like, still submit or deliver on the deadline, like, you still need to ensure that you're doing some form of referral. And then after you're done with that intense work phase, just ensure, like, it's important that you actually now get like some form of appropriate break, or give yourself a good form of outlets. So whether it's going out or whichever one it is that is good for you. I can see Peter's
Okay, I
comment.
think the last question for the evening, I can't see it, but I saw a question like that. Somebody was saying something about their boss having personal problem with them and
Difficult
bringing
line
it to the
manager.
workplace, yes, and how to handle that. I don't know if
Yeah.
that was mentioned.
Yeah, so just like we mentioned earlier, so toxic workplace workspaces are, like, they're actually like also contributory factors to the, like, to burnouts. So you can't change everyone, like, you can't control everything about a particular person. Like, there are actually times that you get to encounter difficult bosses too, or you get to encounter people that are just not agreeing with the kind of with your work. But for you, so just do an assessment of yourself first, like, ensure that your work is being done. I think what the advice is that let there be no faults with your own work, like, you're doing your own part or playing your own part, so that if it happens that anything is even tabled, like, it's just clear that you've done your work. And the truth about workspaces is, people observe things, like, people observe when a teammate is actually being picked on. People observe when the boss is being maybe nasty or being mean to a worker. So I mean, it's just important. So do your own, like, ensure that you put in your own normal work. And if it's something that is too extreme, sincerely, I know it may not be the options that we all want to opt out for, but sometimes, like, it may just require reaching out to a manager that is higher than that person. But best bet is to actually seek counsel from someone in your organization that you can speak to, so that that person can advise you through what it is that you can do in that place at that time. Because it may be that imagine talking about a line manager to a senior person, and then it bounces back. So there could be that as well. So it just requires understanding the kind of workplace that you're in, doing your own bits, and then just when you can, like, communicate what it is that is happening. And if too extreme, might just be yeah, the time to leave. It might depend on, yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jesupi. And there's no question anymore in the chat, so I assume it's time to close up. So
Yeah.
quick announcements. Okay, Dr. P, you dropped a.
Yeah, so that's the link. Yeah, so for like just send a chat and then
Okay.
probably yes, we'll just send a link as well. So I think we're able to like do some discount like on just like
Awesome. Yay.
yeah, for
Yes,
this.
so please we can all check the link that
Yes, so
checker
that's just the chat. Chat
consultation.
just be booking and then by tomorrow everybody will be reached out to. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. JP. Okay, so please also let's not forget to follow Dr. JP on all social media channels. I think admin is going to drop that on the chat box so that we can support our Dr. JP. And the recording. Yes. And also support Checker also because you guys are doing an amazing job.
Thank you. Yes, I hope we've taken note of our assignment. Yes. Yes. So for those of us, I don't know like watching from Nigeria, but for those of us that are in this part of the world, like we have a 4-day holiday. So I mean, let's just make the most of it. Plan like actually just enjoy your break. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, I want to say thank you to the community. Say thank you for everyone who joined today. And the recording will be shared with everyone who registered. And also the feedback form, the link is on the chat box. So if you haven't filled, you can fill. But I think it will also be sent to our emails along with the recording. Once again, please follow Dr. Jesupelumi on social media, follow Checker on social media. The links will also be dropped on the chat box. Also, follow DYP community on social media. And yes, if you want to follow up on conversations and other insightful events, you can join the DYP Telegram community. Our admin is really working. Oh, please don't let all this work go to waste. The link is going to be on the group chat. So please kindly join the DYP Telegram community for more conversations on this topic and other work-related topic. And also follow us on social media and visit our IG bio for more resources. Our social media is Dear Young Professionals at Dear Young Professional. Yes, so that is our IG handle. So once again, we just want to say thank you so much. Please, you can unmute now and just so that I can hear your voice and all of that. And you can also say thank you to Dr. JP. Yeah, so we already brought this meeting to a close, so we can all of you
so much.
Just say thank you to Dr. JP.
Someone is saying that the WhatsApp link isn't working. They want to book a doctor. Can we check that?
The one for Checker.
Okay.
Yes, the one to book a doctor.
Okay.
Let's just quickly sort that out before we end.
Try again, please. It's working.
Okay. All right, let's sort that out then before we close up.
Is it working now?
No, mine is working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's working here too. So maybe Treasure, please try again.
Yeah, it might probably be network. Mine is working.
Thank you, Dr. JP.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you, DYP. Thank you, Kenneth. All right.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, guys.